I arrived with about $1.18 million in cash to buy top-grade wild large yellow croaker in a fishing village. But just as we were about to load the boat, the fishermen raised the price together. They backed out of all the prices we had agreed on. They even threatened to dump the fish back into the sea rather than sell them to me. Boss Han, the market price is about $669 per pound now, but your purchase price is only $201 per lb. That's daylight robbery. Boss Han, this is Uncle Chen's nephew, Su King. He's a top student working in corporate legal affairs at a foreign company. Today, he's speaking for everyone. Seeing those familiar fishermen all hiding behind Su King, their eyes flickering, I realized this wasn't so simple. The contract has already been signed. The price was locked in. What else is there to discuss? But I still smiled. Time is tight. We need to get the fish into the freezer first. Anything else can wait until the boat is loaded. Then we can sit down and talk slowly. Wait. Uncle Chen suddenly rushed out of the crowd. He spread his arms in front of the live water tanks. Let's see who dares touch my family's fish. Uncle Chen, what is this supposed to mean? We signed a contract. Black and white says delivery is today. Cash on delivery. Are you trying to breach the contract? Cut it out. Don't use a flimsy piece of paper to scare honest people. Freedom of contract must be based on fair value. Everyone tell him. How much is top-grade yellow croaker per pound now? High-end seafood restaurants sell it for $800 to $936 per lb. Some top single fish have even been auctioned for several $1,000s. Did you hear that? Boss Han, the price you're offering is a bit too unfair. Su, that is not how you calculate it. First, that's the finished price at top restaurants. Second, business is about honoring contracts. Half a year ago, when the fishing season was bad and everyone had no food, I gave you a guaranteed price. Why didn't you talk about freedom of contract then? And so your village's fish could be shipped out alive as quickly as possible. I pointed to the berth under our feet. This deepwater cold chain dock was expanded with about $177,000 of my money. I also gave you those storm-resistant deep-sea net cages. If we follow freedom of contract, shouldn't all that money count as cost too? That was your own choice. Who begged you to build the dock? You chose to invest in it. That's just your transaction cost for acquiring resources. What does that have to do with our fish price? I looked at Uncle Chen in surprise. Half a year ago, he was still an honest fisherman who only knew how to thank the boss. Now words like transaction costs were coming out of his mouth. I immediately knew Su King had taught him. That kid wanted to treat me like a sucker. I took a deep breath and stopped arguing head on. I took out my phone and snapped a photo of the $1.18 million in cash on the dock. Fine. Since Uncle Chen talks about freedom of contract, I'll exercise my freedom too. I called my assistant Lin Jia on the spot. Lock down all equipment at the deepwater cold chain dock immediately. Cut the power to the oxygen system. Boss Han, what do you mean by this? It's simple. I'm withdrawing my investment and terminating the contract. I turned and walked away. Behind me, Su King sneered, stop pretending. You think we can't survive without you? I didn't look back. I only left one calm sentence. Then I wish you good luck. The fisherman watched me leave, then burst into cheers. Great. We're finally free of that vampire. Exactly. If we sell it ourselves, we'll definitely get a better price. Only one honest fisherman, a Shui, chased after me. Boss Han, I'll still sell you my fish at the original price. I'll buy all of your fish. Uncle Chen's angry shout came from behind. A Shui, just try selling to him. You can forget about staying in this village. But Shui stood firmly by my side. I knew the real show had only just begun. Early the next morning, the dock was bustling. Su King actually brought in a boss Wang. The man drove a luxury car, wore a thick gold chain, and looked like a nouveau rich. Uncle Chen, don't worry. When I, Wang, do business, I value trust most. $401 per lb. Cash on the spot. The fisherman's eyes lit up when they heard the price. That's double Boss Han's offer. This should have happened long ago. Our fish are worth that price. Uncle Chen grinned from ear to ear. Su King really has a way. He found a big buyer right away. Haha, this is great. Su King looked at me smugly. Boss Han, do you see? This is called the market economy. Your monopoly tricks are outdated. I leaned against the car and watched coldly. Then I wish you a pleasant partnership. Everyone relax. My cold chain trucks will be here soon. I guarantee the fish will reach the provincial capital alive. The fisherman cheered with joy, but when Boss Wang reached the live water tanks, his face suddenly changed. Why are all these fish dead? That's impossible. They were still jumping yesterday. The oxygen system in the live water tanks lost power last night. It's already lucky they lasted this long. Su King immediately jumped out. You did this on purpose. This is malicious sabotage. Sabotage? The equipment is mine. I pay the electricity bills. What's wrong with me cutting power to my own property? Boss Wang shouted anxiously. Reconnect the power. If the fish die, they'll be worthless. Hurry up. Stop wasting time. The tanks need power if the fish are going to live. The crowd rushed to operate the equipment, only to discover that all devices required a password and fingerprint verification. Furious, he shouted, what's the password? I took out my phone and said slowly, this is my company's patented equipment. Only authorized personnel can operate it. Boss Han, please don't joke around. If the fish die, everyone is finished. What does that have to do with me? I turned to leave. At that moment, a Shui came over pulling his fish tank. Boss Han, my fish are here. I looked at his tank. The yellow croakers inside were still alive and kicking. How did you keep them alive? Last night, I heard you say the power would be cut. So I moved the fish into the deep sea net cages. The seawater flows there, so the fish won't lack oxygen. Smart. I took out cash on the spot and paid a shui at $201 per lb. A full $73,700 in cash lay on the dock. The fishermen stared until their eyes went straight. I took a shui toward the only preservation channel still running. That was reserved for people who keep their word. Su Qiang rushed over and demanded, "Why can he use it? Why can't we?" I looked at him coldly. Because he kept his word. You didn't. I pressed my fingerprint. The door to the preservation channel opened. A shui's fish were quickly loaded into a professional cold chain truck. Meanwhile, behind us, the other fishermen's fish were turning belly up one by one in the live water tanks. Uncle Chen knelt on the ground, holding a dead fish and wailing, "It's over. We're finished." Boss Wang's face turned livid. "I don't buy dead fish. Figure it out yourselves." With that, he turned to leave. Su Qiang grabbed him. "Boss Wang, you can't leave. We signed a contract." "Contract? Your fish are all dead. What contract is there to talk about?" I sat in the car, watching the farce unfold. Suddenly, my phone rang. It was Lin Jia calling. "Dotmer. Han, someone is secretly investigating our patent system. It should be the lawyer Su Qiang hired." A cold smile curled at my lips. Let him investigate. The deeper he digs, the harder he'll fall. On the third day, Boss Wang actually came back. He brought a whole team of refrigeration equipment and technicians. He said, "I, Wang, am loyal. I brought my own equipment. Let's start over." The fisherman saw hope again. Great. We have another chance. This time it will work. Su Qiang became even smugger. "Boss Han, do you see? The world keeps turning without you." I leaned against the car and said nothing. Boss Wang's people began installing oxygen equipment in the live water tanks, but as soon as they connected the power, the equipment let out a piercing alarm. "What's going on?" The technician checked for a long time, sweating all over. "Boss Wang, the port on this live water tank is a special specification. Our equipment can't connect to it." Boss Wang's face darkened. "Then modify the port. The tank material is special too. Forcing a modification will damage the seal. The fish will still die." "Then what do we do?" The technician shook his head helplessly. "Unless we use the original equipment." Out of options, Boss Wang stared at me. "Boss Han, name your price. Rent me the equipment." "Sorry, we don't lease it out. This is deliberate market disruption. I'll sue you." As soon as he said that, a black business van stopped at the dock. Lin Jia stepped out in high heels. "Who wants to sue our company?" She was holding a thick stack of documents. Su Qiang sneered, "You're creating a technical monopoly. That's a violation of antitrust law." Lin Jia opened the folder. "These are 127 patents registered by our company. They cover deep sea farming, live water preservation, and all core cold chain transport technologies." She threw the documents one by one in front of Su Qiang. "This is the new fishery facility certification issued by the Ministry of Agriculture. This is the dedicated dock use right approved by the Ocean Bureau. This is the internet traceability system for the supply chain." Every document bore a bright red official seal. Su Qiang's face grew paler and paler. Lin Jia looked at him coldly. "Dotmer. Su, you work in legal affairs at a foreign company, right? Then you should know patent protection is a legal right. It is not a monopoly. No, this is maliciously building a technical barrier." Su Qiang was still quibbling. Lin Jia smiled. "Then may I ask, when you signed the contract at the beginning, why didn't you question it? Now that you've breached the contract, you turn around and question our legal rights?" Su Qiang was left speechless. Boss Wang sensed something was wrong and quietly edged toward his car. But Lin Jia suddenly spoke. "Boss Wang, don't rush off. I still have something to say to you." Boss Wang froze. "What is it?" "Yesterday, you agreed to buy it for $101 per lb. Although the fish have had problems, the contract still exists, doesn't it?" Boss Wang's face changed. "That's because the fish died. The contract is automatically void." Lin Jia took out a document. "But what you signed was a guaranteed purchase agreement. Whether the fish are alive or dead, you must pay a 30% deposit as agreed." Boss Wang snatched the document and looked at it. His face turned green. It was an agreement Su Qiang had signed on behalf of the fishermen. To steady Boss Wang, Su Qiang had added that clause on his own. Boss Wang pointed at Su Qiang and cursed, "You set me up." Su Qiang panicked. "I did it for everyone's good." Uncle Chen also came to his senses. "For everyone's good? Then what about the deposit? Did you collect it?" Su Qiang stammered and could not answer. Only then did I speak slowly. "Hold on. How is our fish shipment coming along?" Shui's goods have all been put into storage. They are being transported to the provincial capital. I looked at the fishermen. "Everyone, even if business doesn't work out, we are still friends. I'll leave first." I got into the car. Through the rearview mirror, I saw Uncle Chen grab Su Qiang by the collar. The dock descended into chaos. Inside my car, Lin Jia handed me a report. "Dotmer. Han, we found out what gave Boss Wang confidence. This man is a repeat offender. He specializes in buying dead fish and rotten shrimp, then treats them with chemicals and sells them as live fish." I narrowed my eyes. "Interesting. Looks like this show isn't over yet." 3 days later, I got a call from a shui. "Boss Han, something huge happened in the village." I rushed to the dock. From far away, I smelled a foul stench. All those yellow croakers were dead. They were piled on the shore, rotting and stinking. The fishermen frantically searched for Boss Wang, only to discover he had already run off. Uncle Chen collapsed onto the ground. He seemed to have aged 10 years. "It's all over. Fish worth several $100,000 have all rotted." The other fishermen looked desperate too. The bank loans hadn't been repaid. Now they had lost even their principal. Su Qiang hid behind the crowd, not daring to make a sound. Suddenly, someone saw me. "Boss Han is here." Everyone's eyes instantly focused on me. Uncle Chen crawled over and hugged my leg. "Boss Han, please buy them at the original price. $201 per lb. No, $130 per pound would do." Even $67 per lb would do. I looked at the pile of stinking dead fish. Uncle Chen, are you kidding me? Boss Han, we know we were wrong. Please be the bigger man and forgive us. All the other fishermen knelt down and begged me to. I gave a cold laugh. A few days ago, that wasn't what you said. Back then, you said you'd dump them all into the sea to feed the fish rather than sell them to me. Uncle Chen burst into tears. We were blinded. We were greedy. Boss Han, please give us a way to survive. I crouched down and looked Uncle Chen in the eyes. Do you know the difference between live fish and dead fish? Uncle Chen froze. I stood up and pointed at the dead fish. Live fish are seafood. Dead fish are garbage. I took out my phone and opened a page. On the current market, dead yellow croaker is worth only about $6.69 per lb. And that's only if it still looks good. But your fish already stink. If I bought them, they wouldn't even cover the transport costs. Uncle Chen broke down completely. Then what are we supposed to do? I don't know. I turned and walked away. Su King suddenly rushed out and blocked me. Boss Han, this can't all be blamed on me. You deliberately cut the power. You are responsible too. I stopped. What responsibility do I have? You knew the fish would die if the power was cut. You deliberately harmed our interests. I laughed. Su, you work in legal affairs. Then let me ask you, my equipment, my electricity when I use them, isn't that my freedom? But you were malicious. Malicious. I pointed at him. Who breached the contract first? Who talked about freedom of contract? Now that something has gone wrong, you blame me? Su King had no answer after I shut him down. I looked around at the fishermen. Everyone. When I, Han, do business, I believe in contract spirit. Half a year ago, when you had no food, I gave you a guaranteed price. When you had no equipment, I spent about $177,000 building the dock. When you couldn't keep the fish alive, I gave you deep-sea net cages. But how did you treat me? After signing the contract, you raised the price whenever you wanted. You breached it whenever you wanted. Now the fish are dead and you want me to buy garbage. My voice grew colder. Sorry. I don't buy garbage. With that, I got into the car without looking back. Through the rearview mirror, I saw Uncle Chen pick up a dead fish and smash it hard into Su King's face. It's all your fault. It's all because of you, Jinx. The other fishermen surrounded him too. Su King was beaten until he fled with his head in his hands. In the car, Lin Jie handed me a document. Han, Shui's fish have been delivered to Mer. Li is very satisfied. He offered $1,070 per pound and wants a long-term partnership. I nodded. How is Shui doing? He made more than $295,000. He's completely stunned. He keeps saying he wants to treat you to a meal. I looked out the window. Tell him there will be plenty more chances to make money in the future. Lin Jie suddenly said, Han. Someone in the village posted online, calling you a black-hearted businessman who deliberately harmed the fishermen. I sneered. Find out who posted it. We've already found out. It was Su King. I narrowed my eyes. That kid still hasn't given up. Lin Jie handed me a tablet. Han, there's more. Last night, Su King secretly went to Shui's net cages. I looked at the surveillance footage. In the video, Su King was sneaking around beside the cages. A cold smile curled at my lips. Interesting. Looks like he wants to steal Shui's fish. Lin Jie asked, should we call the police? I shook my head. Not yet. Let him steal it. I want him to steal himself into bankruptcy. Soon, the fishing village's economy completely collapsed. The bank began demanding repayment. The fishermen could barely afford food. Uncle Chen led people to block the entrance of my company. They held banners and cried out, "Black-hearted boss, give us back our hard-earned money." Passersby took photos one after another, pointing and whispering. I stood before the floor-to-ceiling window in my office, watching the farce downstairs. Lin Jie came over. Han, should we call the police? I shook my head. Let them make noise. Once they're tired, they'll leave on their own. Unexpectedly, Shui called right then. His voice was tearful. Boss Han, the prize fish in my net cage is missing. I frowned. When did it happen? It was still there when I checked last night. This morning, it was gone. That was the top-grade fish I had saved for the auction. It was worth at least $73,700. I sneered. I know who did it. I pulled up the surveillance replay. Sure enough, I saw Su King bring to people last night and steal the fish with professional tools. Lin Jie asked, should we call the police? No. I stared at Su King's smug face on the screen. He stole the fish because he wants to turn things around at the city's high-end auction. Then let him go. Lin Jie froze. Han, what are you planning? I turned to look at her. Have you forgotten? Under the scales of every top-grade yellow croaker, what did we implant? Lin Jie understood instantly. A traceability microchip. I nodded. Notify Li. At tonight's seafood auction in the city, I'll attend in person. Lin Jie smiled. Understood. That night, at the city's most luxurious hotel, the seafood auction was underway. The guests were major hotel owners and wealthy businessmen. I sat in the VIP box. Through the one-way glass, I saw Su King sneaking into a corner seat. In front of him sat an exquisite insulated box. The auctioneer announced loudly, the next item is very special. It is an 8.8-pound, top-grade wild large yellow croaker. The starting bid is $14,740. Su King immediately raised his paddle. This is my fish. The auctioneer paused. Sir, you are? Su King stood up. I am the owner of this fish. I want to consign it for auction. He opened the insulated box. Inside was Shui's prized fish. The whole room burst into an uproar. What a huge fish! Its appearance is truly excellent. The auctioneer inspected it. It really was top grade. Then let's follow the rules. The starting bid is $22,110. A smug smile appeared on Su King's face. The bidding began. $23,580 for dollars. $26,532. $29,480. The price kept soaring. Su Qiang trembled with excitement, but unexpectedly, at that moment, I pressed the intercom button in the VIP box. Wait. My voice echoed through the speakers across the hall. Everyone froze. The auctioneer asked respectfully, "May I ask what instruction our guest in the VIP box has?" I stood and walked out of the box. When I appeared in the auction hall, the whole room fell silent. When Su Qiang saw me, his face instantly turned deathly pale. "Boss Han, why are you here?" I ignored him and walked straight to the auction stage. "Auctioneer, please use this device to scan this fish." I handed over a handheld scanner. The auctioneer took it in confusion and scanned the fish. The device immediately beeped. A string of data appeared on the big screen. Chip number AW202400315. Registered owner Ishui. Registration time 3 months ago. The entire hall erupted. I looked at Su Qiang. Su, can you explain why Ishui's fish is in your hands? Su Qiang's face was deathly pale. I was helping him bring it to auction. Is that so? I took out my phone and called Ishui. I put it on speaker. "Ishui, did you ask Su Qiang to auction your fish?" Ishui's voice came through. "No, Boss Han. My fish was stolen last night. I was just about to call the police." The entire hall fell silent. I looked at Su Qiang. "Did you hear that?" Su Qiang's legs went weak. He dropped to his knees. "Boss Han, I was wrong. I really was wrong." I said coldly, "Now you know you were wrong." Too late. I turned to the auctioneer. "Please call the police. This fish is stolen property." The wealthy onlookers. They murmured among themselves. So the fish was stolen. That guy has some nerve. How dare he act tough here? In less than 10 minutes, the police arrived. Su Qiang was taken away on the spot. As he left, he was still shouting, "Han, please let me off. I have old parents and kids to care for." I didn't even look at him. Someone in the crowd suddenly recognized me. "Isn't that the heir of Han Group?" "What, him?" "That's the guy who controls Asia's entire seafood supply chain, Han." I thought he was just an ordinary buyer. The whole room exploded. Lee came over and respectfully handed me his card. Han. "What an honor. I never expected you to come in person." I took his card. "Lee, you're too kind. I'm only here to handle a private matter. Lee lowered his voice. "Han, I'm serious about long-term supply. You can name your price." I looked at him. Lee, it isn't that I don't want to work with you. That fishing village is in chaos now. They can't guarantee quality at all. Lee frowned. "Then what can we do?" I thought for a moment. "Unless someone completely reorganizes the village and builds a standardized farming and purchasing system." Lee's eyes lit up. "Han, you mean?" I smiled. "I can try, but on one condition. Go ahead. The fishermen must accept my management. They follow my rules. No more reckless mess like before. Lee nodded at once. "That's easy. I can help convince them." I shook my head. "No need. They'll come begging me soon enough." The next day, Uncle Chen received the bank's final notice. "Repay within 3 days, or your boats and cages will be seized." The fishermen panicked. "What do we do? The fish are dead. How can we repay the loan? It's all Su Qiang's fault. That bastard ruined us." Uncle Chen slumped on the ground, as if his soul had left his body. Just then, Ashui drove back in a brand new pickup. The backseat was packed with bags. Seeing that, the fishermen gathered around him. "Ashui, you struck it rich?" Ashui smiled. "Thanks to Han. My batch of fish sold for over $295,000. Over $295,000? Everyone was stunned. Uncle Chen asked shakily, "Ashui, wasn't your batch only a few £1,000s? How did it sell for that much?" Ashui said proudly, "Mr. Han delivered my fish to Mr. Lee's high-end restaurant. Lee offered about $1,070 per pound and wants a long-term deal with me." When the fishermen heard that, they regretted it to their core. If only we hadn't listened to Su Qiang. Now look. Ashui got rich and we're about to beg for food. Uncle Chen suddenly grabbed Ashui's hand. "Ashui, can you put in a good word for us? Ask Han to give us another chance." Ashui said awkwardly, "Uncle Chen, it's not that I don't want to help. It's that what you did was too much. Han doesn't want anything to do with you now." "Then what do we do? The bank is really going to throw us out." Ashui thought for a moment. "Why don't you go to Mr. Han yourselves and sincerely apologize?" Uncle Chen gritted his teeth. "Let's go. We're going now." That afternoon, Uncle Chen brought a dozen fishermen to the entrance of my company. This time, they didn't hold banners. They didn't make trouble. They knelt neatly at the door. Han, please come down and see us. Passersby took photos. Those people again? Last time they called him a heartless boss. Why are they kneeling now? I stood in my office watching the scene downstairs. Linjia asked, "Mr. Han, should security remove them?" I shook my head. "Let them kneel. When they've had enough, they'll leave." Uncle Chen and the others knelt for 3 hours. The sun was blazing. Several older fishermen were close to heatstroke. Ashui couldn't bear it anymore. He came up to plead with me. "Han, please see them. They really know they were wrong." I looked at Ashui. "Ashui, you're too soft-hearted. Do you remember how they treated you?" Ashui lowered his head. I know, but they're still people I grew up with." I was silent for a moment. Fine. Let them come up. But I have something to make clear first. Ashui ran downstairs at once. Soon Uncle Chen led the fishermen into my office. One by one, dusty and ashamed, they knelt before me. "Han, we were blind. We were too greedy. Please give us one more chance." I sat in my chair, staring coldly at them. "Chance? I gave you chances. You were the ones who didn't cherish them. Uncle Chen KOWTOWED. Han, whatever you say will do. As long as you let us survive. I stood up and walked to the floor-to-ceiling window. You want to survive, fine. But this time, you follow my rules. Just tell us. We'll listen. I turned around. Starting today, you are no longer independent fishermen. You are employees of my company. All fish will be purchased by me. Prices will be unified. Sales will be unified. The fishermen looked at one another. Can we still make money? I sneered. Make money? You can barely keep yourselves alive, and you're still dreaming of big profits. Uncle Chen gritted his teeth. Han, as long as we can repay the bank, we'll agree to anything. I looked at them. Good. Then signed the contract. Lin Jie took out the prepared contracts. The fishermen read the terms and their faces grew uglier. The terms were harsh. Every fisherman had to farm by my standards. They would be paid by output. There was no base salary, and all equipment, cages, and dock usage rights belonged to me. Uncle Chen's hands shook after reading it. Han, isn't this turning us into hired hands? I said coldly, if you don't want to sign, don't. I'm not forcing you. The fishermen looked at one another. No one dared to speak. Suddenly, a young fisherman stood up. I won't sign. This is pushing us to our deaths. The others began wavering. Yeah. For generations, we've been our own bosses. How can we work for someone else? Uncle Chen hesitated. Han, can you loosen the terms a little? I smiled. Loosen them. I walked to the big screen and pressed the remote. A video appeared on the screen. It was the scene of them breaking the contract together and surrounding me. Han, about $201 per pound is robbery. We'd rather dump it all into the sea than sell to you. The world still turns without you. Every word was clear. The fishermen's faces turned red as they watched. I played the next clip. It showed them holding banners at my company entrance. Heartless boss. Give us back our hard-earned money. I turned off the video. Everyone, this is what you look like. And now you still have the face to bargain with me? Uncle Chen lowered his head in shame. Han, we were wrong. I returned to my seat. Wrong? It's too late. There are only two paths before you now. Sign and become my employees, or wait for the bank to throw you out. The fisherman fell silent. Just then, Ashui suddenly said, Mr. Han, I'll sign. Everyone looked at him. Ashui said firmly, Mr. Han has helped me, and working under him at least means we won't starve. He stepped forward and signed. Uncle Chen gritted his teeth. I'll sign too. With them leading, the others signed one after another. Only that young fisherman was still hesitating. I don't believe it. Can we really not survive without Han? He turned and left. I didn't stop him. Go if you want. I don't need you. The young fisherman stormed off. I looked at the rest. Since you signed, starting tomorrow, everyone follows my rules. Anyone who plays tricks again gets out immediately. The fishermen answered together. Yes, Han. I turned to Lin Jie and said, settle their bank loans. Deduct the money from their future wages. Uncle Chen was so moved he nearly cried. Han, you truly saved our lives. I said coldly, don't thank me yet. The money must be repaid with interest. Uncle Chen nodded again and again. Of course. After the fisherman left, Lin Jie asked me, Mr. Han, aren't you afraid they'll betray you again? I smiled. Betray me? If they dare to do it again this time, I'll make sure they can't even return to the village. Lin Jie handed me a file. Han, this is the order Mr. Lee sent over. He wants 5,500 pounds of top-grade wild yellow croaker at about $1,336 per pound. I looked at the file. Tell Mr. Lee delivery is in 1 month. Quality guaranteed. But, Han, the village's current output can't meet that. I stood up. Then make them work like their lives depend on it. If they can't produce, deduct their pay. The next day, I personally went to the village. When the fishermen saw me, they greeted me respectfully. Good morning, Han. I nodded and walked to the dock. Starting today, everyone farms by my standards. Work starts at 6 a.m. and ends at 8 p.m. I will inspect every fish you raise. Any that fail won't be accepted. The fishermen exchanged looks. Han, isn't this standard too strict? I sneered. Do you know what Mr. Lee is offering? About $1,336 per pound. But the fish must meet top-grade standards. Not even a little flaw is allowed. The fisherman's eyes lit up. About $1,336 per pound? How much do we get? I said calmly, you'll be paid by output. For each qualified fish, you get about $74. But if it fails, you get nothing. The fisherman immediately got motivated. Don't worry, Han. We'll work hard. I was about to leave when I suddenly saw the young fisherman who hadn't signed sneaking around the dock. I walked over. What are you doing here? The young fisherman stammered. I just wanted to see everyone working. I sneered. See? Didn't you say you could survive without me? The young fisherman's face flushed. Han, I was wrong. Can you let me sign too? I looked at him. Too late. The spots are full. The young fisherman panicked. Han, please. I have old parents and kids. If I don't work, I really can't survive. I turned to leave. That was your choice. You can't blame anyone else. The young fisherman knelt on the ground. Han, I truly know I was wrong. I stopped without turning back. You can sign, but you'll do the hardest work for the lowest pay with a 3-month probation period. If you fail, you're out. The young fisherman kowtowed repeatedly. I agree. Only then did I turn around. Go find Lin Jie and sign. The young fisherman ran off, thanking me non-stop. Ashui walked over. Han, you are still soft-hearted. I looked at him. This isn't soft-heartedness. It's their last chance. If they still don't cherish it, then they really can't be saved. The fishing village started running again. Every day, the fishermen began working before dawn. They were 10 times more diligent than before. I stood on the dock watching them work. Lin Jie came over. Han, I have something to report. Last night, someone tried to damage the cages. Our underwater warning radar caught them. I frowned. Who was it? Linjia pulled up the surveillance footage. On the screen, several dark figures were cutting the cage ropes with scissors. I enlarged the image and saw one of their faces. It was Wang. That guy actually dared to come back. Linjia said, he probably wanted revenge by destroying our cages. I sneered, revenge? Then let him pay the price. Call the police. Say someone maliciously damaged fishery facilities. I have all the evidence here. In less than half an hour, the police arrived. Wang was still committing the act at sea. He never expected to be caught. When police speedboats surrounded him, he was dumbfounded. Officer, this is a misunderstanding. The officer said coldly, misunderstanding? The cameras recorded everything clearly, and you're still trying to argue, mister. Wang was brought ashore. When he saw me standing on the dock, he clenched his teeth. Han, you called the police. I smiled. Who else? Did you think you could damage my cages and I wouldn't notice, mister? Wang roared, don't get too arrogant. I won't let you off. I walked up to him. Wang, you have no chance now. I turned to the police and said, officer, this man didn't just damage fishery facilities. He also used chemicals to pass off dead fish as live ones. I have evidence here. Linjia handed over a thick stack of materials. After looking through them, the officer's expression grew serious. This is very serious. Take him back for investigation. Wang completely panicked. No, I was wrong. I really was wrong. But the police ignored his excuses and took him away. Linjia asked me, Han, mister, Wang may go to prison this time. I nodded. Food safety crimes can easily mean 3 to 5 years. Also, freeze all his assets to compensate the consumers he harmed. Linjia went to handle it at once. The fishermen watched the scene and all gasped. Han is ruthless. You can offend anyone, but not Han. Uncle Chen came over cautiously. Han, you truly got rid of a menace for the people. I looked at him. Uncle Chen, focus on your work. Don't think about nonsense. Uncle Chen nodded again and again. Yes, I will work hard. Over the next half month, the village became astonishingly efficient. The fishermen worked desperately to raise the fish, afraid that failures would dock their pay. I inspected them personally every day. Any unqualified fish were returned for further raising. At first, the fishermen complained. Han, this fish is already excellent. Why doesn't it qualify? I picked up the fish. Look at these scales. The color isn't golden enough. That means it lacks nutrition. And look at the eyes. They're not clear enough. That means there's a water quality issue. If this fish goes to Mr. Lee, it will damage my reputation. After hearing that, the fishermen no longer dared to argue. They started raising the fish with even more care. They checked the water quality every day and adjusted the feed ratio. Gradually, the pass rate rose higher and higher. I looked at the glittering golden yellow croakers and nodded with satisfaction. Not bad. Keep it up. The fishermen became even more motivated. At that moment, Ashui came over. Han, Mr. Lee's deadline is almost here. Do we have enough stock? I checked the data. Almost. In 3 more days, we'll have 5,500 pounds ready. Ashui breathed a sigh of relief. Good. But the very next day, something happened. Early in the morning, Uncle Shen came running over in a panic. Han, this is bad. A large number of fish in the cages have died. My face changed. What happened? I rushed to the scene immediately. Dozens of dead fish were floating in the cages. I scooped one up and checked it. Its gills were black. It was clearly poisoned. Where is the water test report? Linjia immediately pulled up the data. Han, the water quality is fine. Someone likely poisoned them. My eyes narrowed. Someone is causing trouble again. I pulled up the surveillance footage. Sure enough, last night a dark figure poured something into the cages. I enlarged the image and saw his face clearly. It was that young fisherman. I sneered. Fine. I gave him a chance, and this is how he repays me. Linjia asked, should we call the police? I shook my head. No need. I'll handle this myself. I had someone bring the young fisherman over. He didn't know the truth was exposed yet. He acted as if nothing had happened. Han, you wanted to see me? I stared at him. Where did you go last night? The young fisherman said guiltily. I was sleeping at home. I sneered. Is that so? Then explain why the cameras caught you poisoning the cages. The young fisherman's face instantly turned pale. I didn't. I played the surveillance video directly. His face was perfectly clear in the footage. His legs gave out and he knelt down. Han, I was wrong. Someone paid me about $7,370 to do it. My eyes narrowed. Who? The young fisherman trembled and said it was one of Su Kang's friends. He said he wanted revenge on you. I sneered. Su Kang is already in jail and he can still cause trouble? Linjia said, Mr. Han, although Su Kang was arrested, he still has accomplices outside. I nodded. Looks like this hidden danger must be removed completely. I looked at the young fisherman kneeling on the ground. Your contract is terminated. Get out of the village now. Don't ever let me see you again. The young fisherman cried and begged. Han, please give me one more chance. I said coldly, I already gave you a chance. You failed to cherish it. Security, throw him out. The young fisherman was dragged away. I turned around and told Linjia, investigate everyone connected to Su Kang. Don't miss a single one. Linjia nodded. Understood. I looked at the dead fish and began calculating in my mind. This time, I'll make sure Su Kang can never rise again. After the poisoning incident was handled, the fishing village finally returned to calm. Lee's order was delivered on time. He was very satisfied. Han, this batch is even better than I expected. I smiled. As long as you're satisfied. Lee lowered his voice. Han, I have an even bigger order. Are you interested? Go ahead. I'm preparing a 3 Michelin star restaurant. I need a long-term, stable supply of premium ingredients. Price is not a problem. I thought for a moment, Dotmer. Lee, it isn't that I don't want to accept it. The village's current capacity is limited, Dotmer. Lee nodded. I understand. But if you can expand the scale, I'm willing to prepay 1 year's supply. My eyes lit up. How much? About $7.37 million. I reached out my hand. Deal. Back at the fishing village, I gathered all the fishermen for a meeting. Everyone, I have good news to announce. The fishermen all listened closely. I received a major order. We need to triple our production capacity. That means your income will also triple. The fishermen cheered excitedly. Great. Long live Han. Uncle Chen said excitedly, Mr. Han, you're our god of wealth. I raised my hand. Don't celebrate too early. To expand capacity, we need more manpower and equipment. I plan to invest about $2.95 million to expand the dock. But there is one condition. The fisherman immediately quieted down. What condition? I looked around. From today on, all operating rights of the village belong to me. You will only handle farming and fishing. All profits will be split proportionally. I take 70%, you take 30%. The fishermen looked at one another. Someone whispered, isn't that selling the whole village to Han? Uncle Chen hesitated. Han, isn't that ratio a little? I sneered. Uncle Chen, if you think it's unfair, let me ask you, without my technology, without my channels, without my capital, could you raise top-grade wild yellow croaker? Could you sell it for about $1,336 per pound? Uncle Chen was speechless. I continued, I'm investing about $2.95 million and taking on all the risk. You only need to work and get paid. Isn't that fair enough? The fisherman fell silent. Then Ashui stepped forward. I agree. Han is right. Without him, we're nothing. With Ashui leading the way, the other fishermen nodded one after another. I agree too. Working with Han is still better than before. Uncle Chen gritted his teeth. Fine, we'll listen to Mr. Han. I nodded with satisfaction. Good, then let's sign the contract. Linjia took out the contract she had prepared. The fishermen signed it one by one, but just then a commotion came from the village entrance. Su Qiang came in with several men, furious. The fishermen froze when they saw him. Su Qiang, how did you get out? Su Qiang sneered. I'm out on bail. I'm here today to seek justice. He pointed at me. Boss Han, you're using a tech monopoly to force fishermen into unfair contracts. That's illegal. I smiled. Mr. Su, stirring up trouble again? Su Qiang pulled out a document. This is the complaint my lawyer drafted. I'm suing you for illegal monopoly and forced trading. The fisherman began to waver. Su Qiang is right. A 70-30 split really is a bit unfair. Yeah, we do the work, but Boss Han takes the big share. Uncle Chen also hesitated. Boss Han, maybe we should discuss this again. I looked at these fence-sitters and sneered inwardly. Discuss it, sure. I took out my phone and called Murdotley. Double quotes, Mr. Lee, I'm sorry. I can't take that $7.37 million order. Murdotley froze. Why? Because the fishermen think my share is too high. They don't want to do it anymore, Mr. Lee sighed. That's too bad. I was going to introduce you to a few Michelin restaurant owners. Forget it. I'll find another supplier. I hung up and looked at the fishermen. You all heard that, right? The $7.37 million order is gone. The fishermen were stunned. What? $7.37 million? Uncle Chen panicked. Boss Han, don't joke with us. I said coldly, I'm not joking. Since you think it's unfair, then this business is over. I now terminate all contracts and withdraw every investment. The fisherman completely panicked. Boss Han, don't. That's not what we meant. Su Qiang sneered. Stop pretending. You think we can't survive without you? I looked at him. Really? Then tell me, without my technology and channels, how will you sell the fish? Su Qiang said smugly, I've already contacted several seafood dealers. They'll buy at about $401 per pound. The fisherman's eyes lit up. About $401 per pound? That's not bad. I smiled. Then I wish you a happy partnership. I turned and left. Linjia followed me. Mr. Han, are you really giving up? I shook my head. No. I'm letting them see who the real bloodsucker is. Sure enough, within 2 days, the dealers Su Qiang found showed their true colors. They demanded a $7,370 deposit first, and cut the price from about $401 to $267 per pound. Only then did the fishermen realize they'd been fooled. Su Qiang, didn't you say about $401 per pound? Su Qiang was dumbfounded too. They said the market changed. Uncle Chen shook with anger. You liar. You ruined us again. The fishermen surrounded Su Qiang and beat him. Su Qiang fled with his head covered. It wasn't me. They tricked me. Uncle Chen collapsed, tears streaming down his face. It's over. This time it's really over. Hey, Shui sighed. I told you long ago, following Boss Han was the only way out. But you just wouldn't listen. Uncle Chen grabbed Shui's hand. Shui, can you plead with Boss Han for us again? Shui shook his head. I can't help you this time. You hurt Boss Han too deeply. Uncle Chen closed his eyes in despair. Just then, the weather forecast issued an emergency alert. A super typhoon was about to make landfall, expected to arrive in 3 days. The fishermen completely broke down. We're done. The typhoon is coming. The cages definitely won't survive. Now we'll really lose everything. Uncle Chen looked at the dark clouds in the distance and cried in despair. Su Qiang jumped out again. It's all Boss Han's fault. If he hadn't pulled his investment, we wouldn't be this miserable. Uncle Chen grabbed him by the collar. You still dare talk? If it weren't for you, how would we have offended Boss Han? You were the one talking about freedom of contract. You brought Boss Wang here. You pushed us to break the contract. Now that something happened, you blame others. The other fishermen also lost patience. That's right. It's all Su Qiang's fault. That liar. He ruined us. Su Qiang was cornered, his face pale. It wasn't me. Boss Han was too ruthless. Uncle Chen slapped him. You still dare argue? Let me ask you. When Boss Han guaranteed our income, where were you? When Boss Han spent $177,000 building the dock, where were you? When Boss Han gave us deep sea cages, where were you? He showed us kindness, but you made us repay it with betrayal. Su Qiang was speechless. Uncle Chen pointed at him. I'm telling you, from today on, get out of this village. Never come back. The fishermen echoed together, yes. Get out, you're not welcome here. Su Qiang slunk away in disgrace. Uncle Chen looked at the distant dark clouds and sighed. Hey Shui, can you help us one last time? Hey Shui said awkwardly, Uncle Chen, it's not that I don't want to help. You really went too far. Boss Han has given you several chances, but you never treasured them. Uncle Chen knelt down, I know. But now the typhoon is coming. We really have nowhere left to go. Please, take pity on his old bones. The other fishermen knelt too. Hey Shui, please. As Shui looked at the villagers he'd grown up with and softened. Fine, I'll try. But I can't promise Boss Han will agree. At that moment, I was checking the typhoon track in my office. Lin Jie said, Mr. Han, the typhoon reaches the village the day after tomorrow. They can't hold out. I nodded. Let them bear the consequences. Just then, A Shui knocked and came in. Boss Han, I need to ask you for a favor. I looked at him. Go ahead. A Shui knelt down. Boss Han, the villagers know they were wrong. They've already driven Su Qiang away. Please, for the sake of the village, help them one more time. I sneered. A Shui, you're too soft-hearted. They betrayed me again and again. Now that trouble has come, they beg me again. Do you think I should help? As Shui lowered his head, I know they were wrong, but if the typhoon comes, they really will lose everything. I was silent for a moment. Fine, I can help them, but this time, we do it my way, and there's no room for negotiation. A Shui nodded immediately. Name your terms. They'll listen. I took out a document. This is the new cooperation agreement. Every fisherman must sign it and press a thumbprint. From today on, they are no longer partners, but my employees. I take 80% of all profits. They take 20%, and if anyone dares betray me again, I'll make him lose everything. As Shui looked at the agreement and drew in a sharp breath. Boss Han, aren't these terms too harsh? I said coldly, harsh? Then let them wait for the typhoon to blow them away. A Shui gritted his teeth. Fine, I'll go tell them. He took the agreement back to the village. When the fishermen saw the terms, their faces changed. An 80-20 split? Isn't that too ruthless? Yeah, we worked so hard, but only get 20%. But Uncle Chen snatched the agreement. Sign it. You must sign. What else do you want? Boss Han is willing to help us. That's already a huge mercy. Without Boss Han, we wouldn't even get 20% now. He picked up the pen and signed first. Then he pressed his thumbprint. The other fishermen looked at one another and then at him, and all signed too. A Shui brought the agreement back to me. I looked at the thumbprints and sneered. Good. Tell them I'll send people tomorrow to reinforce the cages. But if anyone dares play tricks again, I'll make him regret it for life. A Shui nodded. Don't worry, Boss Han. This time, they're truly scared. The next day, I brought a technical team to the fishing village. When the fishermen saw me, they stood respectfully on both sides. Good day, Boss Han. I ignored them and went straight to the cages. We moved all the fish from ordinary cages into the deep-sea storm-resistant cages. The technicians started working immediately. Only then did the fishermen realize the deep-sea cages I had given them were designed specifically to withstand typhoons. The cage material was special. The structure was solid, and they could automatically sink into deep water to avoid storms. Uncle Chen looked at those cages, his eyes turning red. So Boss Han had planned for us all along. The other fishermen lowered their heads in shame. Yeah, Boss Han treated us so well, yet we hurt him again and again. I said coldly, now you know? Too late. Work hard. Don't disappoint me. The fishermen answered in unison. Yes, boss. On the night before the typhoon, the entire coastline was pitch black. Only our deep-sea cages sat safely beneath the sea. Meanwhile, the cages in nearby villages were all destroyed by the typhoon. The next day, after the typhoon passed, I took them to inspect the cages. When they saw the fish inside all alive and kicking, everyone cried. Uncle Chen knelt before me. Boss Han, you're our lifesaver. The other fishermen knelt too. Boss Han, from now on, we'll work properly. We'll never betray you again. I looked at them. Remember what you said today. If there is a next time, I won't give you another chance. The fishermen kept kowtowing. There won't be. Absolutely not. I turned to Lin Jie. Calculate the losses. Pay what needs paying. Repair what needs repairing. And notify Mr. Lee that our goods can be supplied as usual. Lin Jie nodded. Understood. I looked out at the distant sea, a faint smile on my lips. This show was finally coming to an end. After the typhoon, the nearby fishing villages were in ruins. Only our village was completely unharmed. When the news spread, fishermen from other villages came to visit. How is that possible? With such a huge typhoon, your cages weren't damaged at all? Uncle Chen said proudly, these are Boss Han's deep-sea storm-resistant cages. They were designed specifically for typhoons. The fishermen from other villages were green with envy. You people are really lucky meeting a good man like Boss Han. Uncle Chen sighed. It wasn't luck. We were the ones who didn't know what was good. We almost drove Boss Han away. Just then, Su Qiang appeared again. This time, he brought a middle-aged man in a suit. Everyone, let me introduce him. This is Lawyer Zhang. He specializes in labor disputes. When the fishermen saw Su Qiang, their faces changed. You still dare come back? Su Qiang sneered. Why wouldn't I dare? I'm here to help you defend your rights. He pointed at me. Boss Han forced you to sign an unfair contract, an 80-20th split. That's obvious labor exploitation. Lawyer Zhang said this kind of contract is legally invalid. Lawyer Zhang pushed up his glasses. That's right. According to labor law, employers cannot force workers to sign unfair contracts. You can sue Boss Han and demand a redistribution of profits. The fishermen looked at one another. Some began to waver. If we can get more, of course that would be better. Yeah, an 80-20th split really is a bit low. But Uncle Chen stepped forward. Enough. What more do you want? If not for Boss Han, we wouldn't even be alive now. And you still want more money? Su Qiang sneered. Uncle Chen, have you been brainwashed by Boss Han? We worked so hard. Why should we only get 20%? Lawyer Zhang also said, that's right. You have the right to fight for more income. That's a right the law gives you. The fisherman began whispering. Maybe we should try. It's not like we lose anything. Uncle Chen trembled with anger. You people are beyond saving. He turned and left. Shui followed him out too. I won't be part of this. The remaining fishermen, under Su Qiang's instigation, actually signed the authorization letter. Lawyer Zhang nodded with satisfaction. Good. In 3 days, I'll formally sue Boss Han. Su Qiang smiled smugly. Boss Han, let's see what you do this time. The news soon reached me. Lin Jie said angrily, Mr. Han, these people are truly ingrates. You saved them, and they still want to sue you. But I smiled. Let them sue. I happen to have something to say too. Lin Jie was stunned. Mr. Han, you're not angry? I shook my head. What use is anger? People like them won't learn until they hit a wall. Go prepare the materials. I'll show them what it means to drop a rock on your own foot. 3 days later in court, Lawyer Zhang spoke passionately. Your Honor, Boss Han used a technological monopoly to force my clients into an unfair contract. The 80-20th split is clearly unreasonable and seriously harms the workers' rights. I asked the court to rule the contract invalid and order Boss Han to compensate my clients for their losses. The fisherman sat in the gallery, full of expectation. We'll definitely win this time. Then we can get a bigger share. The judge looked at me. Defendant, do you have anything to say? I stood up. Your Honor, I have evidence to submit. Lin Jie handed over a thick stack of documents. These are all our company's investment records in the village. Deepwater cold chain dock. About $177,000. Deep-sea storm-resistant cages. About $118,000. Aeration and preservation. Equipment. About $73,700. Technical training and staff wages. About $44,200. Total. About $413,000. The judge flipped through the documents. These are all your investments? I nodded. That's right. And ownership of this equipment is under my name. The fishermen only use my equipment to farm. Then I buy their fish. This is a normal business partnership. There is no forced labor. Lawyer Zhang immediately objected. But the 80-20th split is clearly unreasonable. I sneered. Unreasonable? Then let me ask you, without my equipment, could they raise premium yellow croaker? Without my sales channels, could they sell them for about $1,336 per pound? Without my technology, could their fish survive the typhoon? Lawyer Zhang was speechless. I continued, besides, they signed this contract voluntarily. There was no coercion. If they thought it was unfair, they could have refused to sign. I never forced them. Lin Jie handed over another document. This is the recording from that time. It proves Mr. Han said they could choose not to sign. He didn't force them. The recording played. My voice was crystal clear inside. If you don't want to sign, you don't have to. I won't force you. The fishermen's faces changed instantly. The judge looked at them. Plaintiffs, is what the defendant said true? The fisherman stammered and couldn't answer. Lawyer Zhang panicked. Your Honor, even if it was signed voluntarily, the 80-20th split is still too unreasonable. I said coldly, unreasonable? Then let me calculate it for you. I invested about $413,000, took on all the risk, and provided all the technology and channels. They only need to work. They bear no risk at all and still receive 20%. When the typhoon came, I bore the losses. They didn't have to pay a cent. Is that still not fair enough? The judge nodded. The defendant has a point. Lawyer Zhang's face turned ashen, but the judge cut him off. No buts. Under contract law, a contract voluntarily signed by both parties is valid as long as it doesn't violate the law. The plaintiff's claim is not supported by this court. Court is adjourned. The gavel came down. The fishermen were stunned. How could this happen? We lost. Su Qiang's face turned pale. He turned to run, but I stopped him. Mr. Su, don't leave so soon. I still have something to say to you. Su Qiang froze. I walked up to him. You repeatedly incited the fishermen to betray me. Did you think I didn't know your purpose? Su Qiang's expression changed. I don't know what you're talking about. I sneered. You don't? Then I'll tell you. You first incited the fishermen to breach the contract because Boss Wang paid you a $73,700 kickback. You stole Shui's fish and took it to auction to repay debts. You hired someone to poison the fish to get revenge on me. Now you brought a lawyer to sue me, still trying to bring me down. Too bad you failed every time. Su Qiang trembled all over. What proof do you have? Lin Jie handed over a document. This is Boss Wang's transfer record. The $73,700 recipient was you. This is the recording of you ordering a young fisherman to poison the fish. These are your chat records with Lawyer Zhang. The evidence is solid. Do you still want to argue? Su Qiang's legs gave out and he knelt down. Boss Han, I was wrong. Please let me go. I looked at him. Let you go. Too late. I turned to the bailiff. This man is suspected of multiple crimes. Please take him away for investigation. The bailiff immediately stepped forward and handcuffed Su Kang. As Su Kang was taken away, he shouted desperately, "Boss Han, I really know I was wrong. I ignored him." I looked at the fisherman. "Everyone, this farce ends here. Go back and work properly. Don't disappoint me again." The fishermen lowered their heads in shame. "Yes, Boss Han." After the lawsuit ended, the village finally quieted down. The fishermen no longer dared have doubts. They worked honestly. I stood on the dock, watching them busy at work. Linjia walked over. "Mr. Han, Mr. Lee is asking about the shipment. He said the Michelin restaurant opens next month." I nodded. "Tell him the goods will arrive on time." Linjia hesitated. "Mr. Han, there's one more thing to report. The Meteorological Bureau issued a new warning. Another super typhoon is forming. It's expected to make landfall in 1 week. I frowned. Again, Linjia nodded. "And this typhoon is stronger than the last one. It's expected to be a once-in-a-decade super typhoon." I thought for a moment. Notify all fishermen to prepare for the typhoon immediately. Also contact the nearby fishing villages. Ask if they want to rent our deep-sea cages. Linjia was stunned. "Mr. Han, you want to help the other villages?" I said, "Not help. It's business. Rent is about $1,474 per day." Linjia immediately understood. "I'll handle it now." When the news spread, the chiefs of the nearby villages all came over. "Mr. Han, we heard your cages can withstand typhoons. Can we rent them?" I looked at them. Double quotes, yes. But there are conditions. "What conditions?" "About $1,474 per day, and 7 days rent must be paid upfront." The village chiefs drew in a breath. $10,318? Isn't that too expensive? I said calmly. "Expensive? Then calculate it yourselves. If the typhoon comes, how much will you lose? If hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of fish are destroyed, what is $10,318? The village chiefs looked at one another. "But where would we get that much cash?" I stood up. "Then there's nothing I can do. Please go back." The village chiefs panicked. "Mr. Han, can you make an exception? We can use fish as collateral." I shook my head. "No, I only accept cash." The village chiefs gritted their teeth. "Fine, we'll go raise the money." They left dejectedly. Linjia asked me, "Mr. Han, what if they can't raise the money?" I smiled. "If they can't, then they'll wait to lose hundreds of thousands of dollars. By then, they'll naturally come back and beg me." Sure enough, 2 days later, the village chiefs came again. This time, they brought cash. "Mr. Han, we scraped the money together. Can we rent the cages now?" I looked at the stacks of cash. Double quotes, yes. Signed the contract. After signing, the village chiefs were relieved. "Thank you, Han. You really saved us." I said calmly, "No need to thank me. This is business."